Hey, I'm Pat. Welcome to Daily Devo. Today we're going to talk about the paradox of experience. Listen to this amazing verse found in 1 Thessalonians 1, verse 6. You became imitators of us and of the Lord, for you welcomed the message in the midst of severe suffering with the joy given by the Holy Spirit. Paul is commending these believers in the city called Thessalonica for the fact that they have patterned their lives after Paul and, more importantly, Jesus. Specifically to this verse, they were modeling how Paul and Jesus handled suffering in their lives. You and I need this reminder because it's something I think we often miss in our culture and society. You see, Jesus guaranteed we would suffer at times because of him. Jesus did not say it may happen or could happen. He told us it will happen. So it was no surprise that Jesus' followers, like those in this ancient city of Thessalonica, would be persecuted. Similarly, it should be no surprise when you and I suffer for our faith in Jesus. Yet, I find it interesting how quickly we as Jesus followers in America will get so upset the moment we feel any kind of discomfort or ill treatment for our faith. It's interesting we so quickly get upset because 2,000 years ago, Jesus didn't say it might happen. He said it's a guarantee. But here's what I want us to note in this incredible verse, 1 Thessalonians 1:6, that in the midst of this suffering, the Spirit of God is giving them joy, giving us joy. We might call this a paradox of experience. A paradox, remember, is a seemingly contradictory statement. So to call this a paradox of experience is to say it's a seemingly contradictory experience. How can you have both suffering and joy at the same time? That doesn't make sense. I would agree, unless we added to this an unfair advantage, unless we added something supernatural. Notice that Paul points out that this joy and suffering is something that comes from the Holy Spirit. It's not simply something that we conjure up by ourselves. It is a supernatural joy that we receive from the Holy Spirit. It comes from the Spirit reminding us in the midst of our suffering that what we receive and what we will receive through our faith in Jesus more than counterbalances whatever we may be suffering in this life. It's what Paul mentioned in his letter to the Romans, that any current suffering we endure is no comparison to what is in store for us as children of God. If you are currently suffering, would you allow the Spirit to give you this supernatural joy in the midst of your pain? If you aren't currently suffering, would you store away this truth for the day that you may find yourself in the valley of despair? Would you file away this hope that we have the Spirit of God in us that is so great and so mighty that somehow, some way, He can provide us this paradox of experience called joy in suffering?